chosen one. If these words have reached you, it is not by mere chance. There is a greater force guiding this encounter, a call that has been whispered to your heart. You may have even felt a silent discomfort, a restlessness that kept reminding you that there is something beyond the visible scene, something broader and more meaningful, waiting for your awakening. This message comes to confirm what you already sense. The time has come to break free from stagnation, to break internal barriers, and move forward toward your purpose. It is time to go beyond the known and embrace the potential that God and the universe have placed in your life. You were not chosen to follow the crowd, nor to settle for the ordinary. There is something special in your inner light, an essence that makes you capable of overcoming challenges that once seemed insurmountable. Every difficulty faced, every trial overcome, has shaped you for this moment. Now, what awaits you is no longer hesitation or doubt, but a stage where your confidence and faith will manifest with certainty. When you realize this, you understand that everything you have lived was not a waste of time, but preparation for this new cycle of transformation. Before continuing the journey, remember something simple that makes a difference. Like the channel and subscribe. By supporting this space, you not only strengthen the network of truth seekers, but also ensure you won't miss any content that can nourish your faith and support your path. Now that you are aware of the call, keep watching and allow this message to strengthen your spirit, guiding each step toward the change you have been waiting for. It's curious to think about how you arrived at this exact moment. In a world so vast, with countless possibilities, why precisely now have you come across these words? This is not something random, but the result of a convergence of invisible signs. The fact that you are here indicates that the very essence of the universe has aligned circumstances for this message to reach you. There is no need to see this synchronicity as a grand mystical event, but rather as a reminder that nothing happens by mere chance. What you have carried within you, a silent restlessness, an intuition that there is something beyond the ordinary, has guided you here. If you look at your journey, you may notice that deep down, you have never felt fully satisfied with the usual. While many settle for routine, you sensed that there was a greater meaning waiting to be discovered. This discomfort is not a mistake nor a whim. It is the whisper of your inner self, insisting that you were not born to be just another, but to fulfill a unique purpose. This calling, though often silent, is now becoming more audible. It asks you to step out of the position of spectator and assume the role of protagonist in your own story. Consider a traveler at a fork in the road. In one direction, the safety of the known path. In the other, the unknown, yet promising. This crossroads represents not only an external decision, but an internal dialogue. On one hand, fear and doubt tell you that it is not the right time, that you are unprepared. On the other, faith and courage whisper that the time is now, and that every previous experience has equipped you for this leap. No one said it would be easy to leave familiar ground, but the search for the deeper meaning of life requires overcoming hesitation. That something more you seek is not an object, a specific goal, or a label. It is about recognizing the light that already exists within you. You do not need to become someone else. Just allow yourself to be the best version of yourself, the one that has always been waiting for the moment to emerge. All experiences, achievements, and even the difficult moments played a role in this preparation. Pain, frustration, and disappointments were not wastes of time, but rather painful lessons that made you stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Instead of lamenting what has passed, see those chapters as training that equipped you with the qualities needed for this new cycle. It's possible that some internal and external voices will try to convince you otherwise. Perhaps someone at some point told you that your dreams were too big, or that you didn't have the necessary skills. Perhaps you yourself believed that, nurturing the fear of failure. But now is the time to question these limiting beliefs. Why accept definitions that keep you restricted when you feel there is more to explore? Why hold on to the view others have of your potential when the Creator has already placed unique gifts within your essence? Often, the wait for the perfect moment is a trap that keeps you stagnant. If you look back, you will realize that perfection is scarce and rarely presents itself the way we desire. The universe does not require that you have all the answers before you begin. It only asks for the willingness to take the first step. Security does not come from external guarantees, but from the understanding that, by acting with sincerity, determination, and faith, the scene will gradually shape itself. By taking initiative, you release an energy that attracts resources, opportunities, and insights that were beyond your field of vision. Imagine an athlete who, before the start, does not know all the details of the race, but trusts in the training accumulated. You too have been trained, not on racetracks, but in the lessons of life. Every previous obstacle was an exercise in strengthening the soul. Even without realizing it, you have developed patience, adaptability, and understanding of yourself. Now, facing the invitation to something greater, you may hesitate, but remember that every difficulty overcome in the past was a necessary step toward this moment. There is a verse that can bring comfort and clarity in this context. "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord." Jeremiah 29:11. This phrase reinforces the idea that there is a higher plan at work, and your journey is not an accident. It reminds you that no matter how many fears and uncertainties exist, the Creator knows the direction of your path and knows exactly what you need. This understanding does not eliminate challenges, but floods your heart with the confidence that, even in the dark, you are guided by a wise and loving hand. From here on, there is no need for definitive conclusions. This is only the beginning of a journey where you will put your learnings into practice and gradually see the pieces falling into place. There is no unnecessary rush. Just recognize that the moment has come and that your posture toward the circumstances will change the course of your story. By taking the first step, you are no longer the same as before. Faith, once abstract, now begins to manifest in concrete actions. The inner light, once only a possibility, begins to illuminate every decision, every action, bringing you closer to the destiny reserved for the chosen. You'd think for a moment about the uniqueness of the moment you are in right now. Amidst a myriad of paths, tasks, and distractions that the world offers, here you are, facing these words. It was not a random coincidence that brought you to this point. Do you know that feeling that deep down always told you there was something more, something beyond the everyday, routine activities? It is this feeling that has brought you here. You are not just another individual following a predetermined script. There is a special reason behind this convergence of signs, and that means the time for hesitation has passed. You may have asked yourself on numerous occasions why you felt an internal restlessness, as if the reality that everyone accepts wasn't enough for you. While many people seem satisfied with the ordinary, you sensed a deeper journey, a more meaningful purpose than the trivial. This inner discomfort is not a defect or illusion. It is a calling. And if you are hearing these words now, it is because something within you is leading you to seek answers and a greater sense of meaning. By recognizing that there is a higher purpose in your journey, you begin to understand that nothing has been wasted. Every experience, positive or negative, has served as a step or a tool of preparation. That time when you faced an seemingly insurmountable problem, it served to make you more resilient, the disappointment that made you question your ability. In fact, it was a reminder that you are stronger than you thought. Each piece of this puzzle is falling into place, preparing you for what you always felt you were meant to do, but didn't know when or how to begin. Now that the when has arrived, and it is now, it is worth remembering that moving forward doesn't mean having all the answers ready. The search for the perfect moment can be a way to delay your steps. The ideal moment doesn't come from the outside. It arises from within you when you decide to act even without the full guarantee of success. It's not about the absence of fear, but about walking despite the fear. Clarity comes from action, not from stagnant waiting. Think of a traveler who, upon glimpsing a majestic mountain, feels compelled to climb it, even though they don't know the details of the path. They don't wait to have the complete map or all the most sophisticated tools. They begin with what they have, trusting that each advance will reveal the next step. Similarly, by taking on your role as the chosen one, you don't need external confirmation that everything will go as planned. All you need is the internal conviction that it's worth moving forward, learning at each stage, and strengthening your essence along the way. This initial impulse awakens a type of energy that cannot be underestimated. As you take the first step, you'll notice that circumstances that were once confusing begin to make sense. The right people cross your path, and opportunities arise. None of this is coincidence. It is the universe responding to your attitude, reorganizing the pieces to align them with your calling. Synchronicity is not an abstract concept. It is the result of an intimate connection between your sincere intention and the infinite possibilities around you. It may be that some around you don't understand what you are doing, or why you feel this urgency to go beyond the obvious. Perhaps you'll encounter voices telling you it's better not to take risks, that keeping things as they are is safer. But you know that the apparent safety does not quench that inner thirst that drives you. The chosen one's path is not about pleasing everyone, nor about following the crowd. It's about recognizing that there is something in you waiting to bloom, like a seed waiting for the right moment to break through the earth and reach the light. In this context, even if you haven't completed anything yet, the important thing is to absorb the meaning of this moment. You were found by this message because your soul was ready to hear it. There is no need for exaggerated promises or to claim that everything will be easy. The journey may be demanding, but every effort invested in the direction of the purpose brings rewards that go far beyond material accomplishments. It's about growing inwardly, feeling a different peace in knowing you are on the right path, and inspiring others without even needing to say a word. When you realize you are the chosen one, do not imagine an unbearable burden on your shoulders, but rather the privilege of exploring possibilities that most ignore. No one said it would be simple. Moving beyond the known is always an act of courage. But you don't need to worry about everything now. Just embrace the call, recognize the potential that resides in your own existence, and decide to move forward. Every step you overcome strengthens your confidence, and soon you'll realize that fears, once paralyzing, become insignificant in the face of the strength you discover within yourself. This is just the beginning. Everything worthwhile requires effort, patience, and faith in your own path. By committing to this, you open the door to transformation. No matter the difficulty of the next steps, the certainty of being on the right path will fuel you. The journey will be shaped as you take the next steps, and the universe will continue to guide each movement. This is the beauty of understanding that, if you've made it this far, it was not by chance. The call has always been there. Now is the time to answer. Upon reaching this moment, you may realize that feeling a deeper calling does not mean the obstacles will disappear. On the contrary, recognizing that you have been chosen for something greater tends to reveal internal and external barriers that once seemed invisible. It is as if the first step forward brings to the surface everything that kept you distant from your true potential. The good news is that this is not a sign of weakness. On the contrary, it indicates that you are maturing and ready to better understand what needs to be transformed in your journey. None of this concludes the journey. This is just a starting point, an introduction to a much broader walk. When you recognize your abilities, practice forgiveness, maintain humility, value inner silence, and face fear, you prepare yourself to go beyond. Every small step reinforces the certainty that the light you carry cannot be extinguished. The path continues, and you move forward, step by step, toward the destiny reserved for the chosen one that you are. When you begin to recognize the value of walking toward a greater purpose, you soon realize that you don't have to walk alone. In fact, there is immense power in the union of people who share not the exact same ideas, but the same desire to grow, learn, and face internal and external challenges. This support network is not just a gathering of individuals, but a space where everyone can strengthen each other. By exchanging experiences, sharing doubts, and celebrating small victories, you create a chain of positive energy that nourishes each person's faith, courage, and determination. This communion does not mean that everyone will think the same. On the contrary, the richness of learning comes precisely from the variety of perspectives. You might meet someone with a completely different story from yours, but who still understands the weight of being called to something greater. While you try to understand your own limits and strengths, this person might offer advice or insights you'd never have imagined. In the same way, you could be the voice someone needs to hear to overcome an obstacle. In this exchange, everyone gains more clarity, letting go of the impression of being isolated on their own path. Humility is a key component in this process. When interacting with other seekers of truth, it's important to keep your heart open and flexible. When we close ourselves off with certainties and pride, we lose the chance to learn from others. Recognizing that no one knows everything, and that everyone has something to teach or learn, is what keeps the energy flowing. Without arrogance, the dialogue flows better, creating a space free of unnecessary tension. Consider the strength that emerges when each person shares not only their problems, but also their small victories. Imagine that you've overcome the tendency to dwell on a recurring negative thought. It may seem like a modest achievement, but when you share this story with someone else who is struggling with similar thoughts, your example becomes a light, a reminder that progress is possible. At the same time, when you feel discouraged, hearing how another person rose after a stumble can renew your faith in the journey. It will not always be easy to maintain this open posture. There will be moments when external pressures or even your own mind will try to convince you that it's better to go it alone, distrusting others. But remembering the example of Gideon may help. He had to trust his small group, recognizing that that union was part of the greater plan. In the same way, you will also realize that cooperation is not a sign of weakness, but of spiritual intelligence. By sharing the burden, you weaken negative strategies that rely on isolation to take effect. Patience also plays a crucial role. Each person has their own rhythm of growth. Some advance quickly in certain aspects, while others take longer to overcome certain limitations. This is not a reason for destructive comparison, but for understanding. By accepting different rhythms, you free yourself from the anxiety of trying to rush results. Patience with yourself and with others creates a calmer environment, more conducive to evolution. A valuable practice to reinforce this support network is gratitude. By appreciating the help received, the friendly advice, the shoulder offered at the right moment, you remind yourself of the importance of these connections. Even when the journey is individual, the fact that you can count on someone, even if only for an encouraging word, makes everything more meaningful. Gratitude not only elevates your vibration, but also inspires others to continue giving their best. In the end, understanding that you were not born to face everything alone frees you from unnecessary burdens. Your mission is not to carry the whole world on your shoulders, but to recognize that there is a greater purpose and that others also feel the same calling. By building and nurturing this spiritual community, you create a natural barrier against any negative influence. Together, you become a fortress of faith, hope, and overcoming, where each soul finds the courage to move forward, knowing they are not walking the path in the dark, but accompanied by other lights that, together, illuminate the way. You have arrived here, and it didn't happen by chance. Something inside of you, an almost silent feeling, led you to this moment. Perhaps you've realized that ordinary life, the routines that most consider normal, do not quench your thirst for meaning. This discomfort is not a mistake, but a sign that there is a greater purpose waiting for you to discover it. Now, before this calling, it's time to understand that not only are you capable of moving forward, but you were also chosen for it. The universe prepared the stage, opened doors, aligned factors so that you would encounter this message at the exact moment when your heart was ready to hear it. As you reflect on your own journey, you may discover that everything you have lived until now, the obstacles, the difficulties, the uncertainties, has worked as training, preparation for this moment. Every accumulated experience was not wasted time, but tools that have made you more resilient, wiser, and more aware of the signs around you. Now that you recognize the universe's invitation to move forward, it's not enough to just say yes in thought. You must act. Action is the fuel that transforms potential into reality. It's normal to feel fear when facing the unknown. Leaving your comfort zone requires overcoming insecurities and confronting doubts. But courage doesn't mean the absence of fear, but rather the decision to walk, even while feeling some apprehension. Every step taken despite fear weakens the invisible chains that kept you bound to the starting point. When you realize you're not paralyzed, nervousness diminishes and confidence grows. You recognize that when you move, things begin to fall into place, opportunities arise, and the scene changes. Another essential aspect is realizing that you don't have to face everything alone. There are people in this world who, like you, feel the calling to something greater. By exchanging experiences with them, you learn from shared victories and defeats. It's not about finding someone with the exact same beliefs, but about recognizing the value of honesty, kindness, and courage in other hearts. This support network doesn't eliminate challenges, but it makes them more bearable, reminding you that you're not the only one feeling the weight of the journey. This invisible bond strengthens everyone. Moreover, it's important not to confuse humility with self-sabotage. Being humble doesn't mean downplaying your talents or denying your abilities, but recognizing that you don't know everything and that you can always improve.